Keanu on realizing the lies and awfulness of the toe. That's the title of the video. Okay. Now, you guys may remember they were really close friends, and Keanu invited April and Aaron to her and Gino's wedding, then uninvited Aaron, and basically went on a spree of talking a bunch of shit. And her mom, too. Her mom was like, yeah, I never liked him. He was a dork, whatever. Flip-flop, flip-flop. But basically uninvited him and said the only reason he was invited to begin with was because she wanted April to be part of her wedding party because she was attractive and would make, great pictures, whatever. But the reason she had originally turned on the toe is because April confided in her about some alleged abuse at the hands of Aaron. And so Keanu obviously came out and talked about it, as she does, because this is my life. I talk about whatever I want. Fuck anybody that is in the periphery or happens to be in the orbit and related to anything that is in my life. Fuck them and their privacy. She basically said, like, she told me about this alleged abuse, and there's no way I can be friends with him now. Whatever, was standing up for her girl, but later retracted that and said, April said that it wasn't true and that she exaggerated, et cetera, et cetera. So this is during that time period when she had turned on the toe. And that was actually when the toe liked us. The toe was like, yeah, they're great.
Well, then I like these pretty antisocial ladies if they're shitting on Keanu.
During that time period. So anyway, this is her reasoning.
What did I do to you, Aaron? What did I do to you? Maybe I woke up and went, this man lies and lies and lies. Maybe I woke up and figured out that you're an alleged woman abuser. Maybe I woke up and figured out that no matter what you say, you can't believe you. What did I do to you? He's gonna go on to say that I knifed him in the back. Let me tell you something, Toe. I knifed you in the front between your fucking breasts, and I'd do it again.
You heard it.
Between your fucking breasts, and I'd do it again. When I figured out who you were, I'd do it again.
What happened? What changed?
I work on truths, okay? I'm not going to sit around and you stab me in the back.
Hold on. She just said she worked on truths. So at the time she believed April. And if April did come out and say, oh, I over-exaggerated, I might have sold this a little too hard or whatever. It's just like, okay, so now the truth is not what you once thought it was, enough to like break up a friendship.
You knifed me in the back. No, I did it right in front of your eyes because I figured out who exactly you are. And it's not good.
It's like one of those things where if she could play this in the morning before she goes on to his show, that'd be great. Where she's like, oh yeah, I do remember saying what a piece of shit he was. Because that's not all she said. She talked about how manipulative he was and how she felt sort of hoodwinked by him, and that he would call them and cry, and be all in his feelings, and that she was just trying to be a friend and console him, and come to find out he's not the guy she thought he was, blah, blah, blah. I think this is the very first time she came out and was like, I'm not going to be talking about the toe anymore. I'm not going to go on his streams, yada, yada.
Aaron put us in a very, 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 very sticky situation. That's not really what a friend does. Him asking us to fill in for her while all of that was going on, I think was a bit of a, he got right to us like, oh, we're getting a divorce and she's on this and da, 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 da. And we were like, anything you need, buddy. Okay. So we did the show for.
That's important though. He said that he got to them first whenever they were getting ready to go through the divorce. I think that's an interesting detail.
Many months. It was always supposed to be temporary, but the way that he is framing it now is not it's not quite right. And the things that have come out that I will tell you whether or not the Viscontis believe or not is quite untoward. So let's just play it and then I will explain. So here we go.
Yep. I'll just go, hey, man, I hope you're hanging in there.
Okay.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'll get a text back. And
He's talking about Visconti.
bum the guy out. Sometimes I'll just text.
He's talking, if you don't know, obviously, he's talking about Visconti. He's going like, oh, I don't want to bother him during the merger. I don't want to bother him during this merger that's going on. False, okay? We just weren't answering you. We saw some weird shit come out. It wasn't that I was on vacation. I still streamed with John DiCaprio. It wasn't that I was on vacation. It wasn't any of that.
We were just ignoring you. We were 100% aware of your phone calls, but instead of the police, who we answered the phone for, answered questions for, and actually called back, when we saw your calls coming in, we completely avoided them.
We just didn't know what to think, and we wanted to just wait a second before we responded to you. It has nothing to do with the merger, which you know nothing about. So there we go. Anyway, we'll continue on.
Text Keanu because I'm like, I don't want to bother Gino with this right now. Keanu and Gino were always temporary here.
Okay.
Yeah. Keanu and Gino were never.
All right. So Visconti was talking to me just now. He was just trying to fill me in. It was like we got a live update, right? Saying that Aaron's talking about this right now. It doesn't care if we throw him out of the wedding. Okay. Because Aaron, I believe in this clip, he does say that he doesn't want to be a distraction because he's such a big star. You know, what a big.
That is funny. He did say that he didn't want to be a distraction at her wedding.
Big star you are, Aaron. What a big star. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue on this clip. All right, here we go.
We're in the full-time, long-term plans of Steel Toe for one main reason. I couldn't afford to let them keep coming here, and then I couldn't offer.
You couldn't afford it. We were trying to be nice to you. You could not afford it. What about the weeks where you didn't pay us?
Oh,
how about those
whoops.
weeks? And then as soon as we kind of stop answering, ding, oh, here's $100 for last week. I'm like, what about this week? This week. Thanks for the $30 on this week. All right.
Whoops.
It doesn't matter. As friends, we would have done it for free. So, and we were like, yeah, buddy, anything you need. Me and Gino immediately, not that we already weren't, we were texting April. We didn't really hear from her, but of course she doesn't want to, text back to somebody that's involved with him. And I get that. I completely understand.
Well, then the compound sensor thing.
Magnesium says, I want to troll Kiki, but she goes live at like 2 a.m. That's the cocaine. I guess that's the height of that. It's got to be when she's like zooted. She does go really late. That's why when she's like, oh, you watch everything I do. I was like, no, I don't. I actually don't. People send me clips, and if it's good enough, I'll go and timestamp it myself. Nobody's up at that time of night, No, ma'am.
Okay.
Then these
again. So he thinks that has something to do with it. Nice freeze frame. He has no fucking idea what's going on. This man, for some reason, thinks that he's a part of it. He was texting us. The only thing, texts went ignored. And then finally he was going, is it a merger? Is it this? Is it that? Because he wants something to talk about on his fucking show.
That was a good pause screen. Look, she had it on that right there for the longest time. Look. Oh, gosh. If those words weren't in front of his head, I'd have to get that one.
Horse shit allegations about Mika, which I can't say loud enough. Lies, incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
Yes, it's 2.5 years ago.
Okay, that's another thing. Horse shit allegations. The allegations are really fucking disturbing. And I would be full of fucking shit if I said that I didn't. If it's not exactly that, something fucking happened. You're painting it and it's like Nick is this manipulative abuser. Yes. And I actually agree with that. Meanwhile, all that happened. And then he goes on to say, oh, it was 2 years ago. This all came out 2 years ago. What fucking difference does that make, man? When it was the Kevin Brennan podcast or whatever, when the mugshots or what have you came out. And we were just like, he's enjoying this a little bit too much, don't you think? That's not how you would react to somebody that you gave a fuck about. That was your wife. The worst evil is culty narcissist, okay? That's the worst evil. So whatever. We're still trying to be a friend to him. We didn't know about any of this. We're still trying to be a friend to him. And we're going to do his show. And you know something about Aaron? Like, we know he's unfunny. We know that, like, he has, like, zero self-awareness. But something about a dweeb with zero self-awareness is endearing, okay? And then it starts to trickle in where you're just like, okay, he's enjoying this too much.
She needs to listen to this again.
We can't do this for much longer. I didn't in my wildest dreams think something like this would come out. But again, he kind of call us too nice, but we were a little bit manipulated. And but we definitely saw the signs, didn't see the signs of that. But he knew this the whole time. It's lie after lie after lie. For example, okay, the day before, I remember the like the arrest happened, right? He calls me and says, so I have to tell you something. Me and Kayla hooked up a couple of times.
Aaron called Keanu the night before they got arrested. I'm telling you, when this all started, like when this first popped off and there was all this like information coming in and people started talking about all that, we were following the things. Like, honestly, at that point, Aaron was the only person that could talk about it. You know, April and Kayla both stayed silent, and Nick couldn't talk either because he was being charged. All three of them had charges pressed against them because of this arrest, right? Or during this arrest, I should say. So he was really the only one that was talking about it. Now, when this happened, this was a little tidbit where I was like, oh, wow, because it was the day before they got arrested. And if you go back, and we've done this before, it's been last year or something, I have to dig it up. But if you go back and you listen to the shows like 2 weeks, I'd say 2 weeks before the arrest, Aaron talks about calling April's parents and begging them to help get her out of that house. He talks about calling, trying to set something up with Kayla's family members to get her in a rehab. He says that he begged April and Kayla to leave as early as like the night before. So I found it very interesting that the day before they get arrested, he calls Keanu and is like, oh, by the way, I hooked up with Kayla a couple of times. I don't know where. Because he said it several times that he wanted to get ahead of everything and that he felt like he needed to come out and just spill it all to everybody and anybody. And he didn't just do it on his show. He amplified the message. He went to any and every show that would have him and repeated the same things or told even more salacious stories, depending on where he was, right? I just think it's interesting. The timing of everything has always been kind of wonky for me. And then you add in the clip that we watched earlier from the 10th anniversary show where Aaron's like, yeah, I snitched on him. Of course I did. I had to get in front of it. Somebody was going to snitch. I wanted to be the one that got to it before they did. It's like, bro.
I'm like, okay. All right. Whatever. Are Nick and, I mean, I guess, everybody's been saying that you guys were swinging. Like, okay, why did you? And then he goes, I said, are April and Nick hooking up? He's like, not to my knowledge. No, I never saw anything like that. It only happened a couple of times with me and Kayla. I'm like, all right. Cut to, he's on fucking Kino Casino going, we were wife swapping and da 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 da. Like, why even lie to me about that? It's just something always comes out. There's no trusting him. There's no.
What happened, Keanu? You trust the money. The money talks, right?
No fucking trusting him. I thought he's just a dweeb, a kind of likable dweeb. So now I'm getting it. And sorry. Sorry. And I'm never going to read anything that April has sent to me. And she does not want to be talked about publicly.
What happened to that? What happened to that? Because she has read things from her. No, Keanu, I think, is the youngest of two. She's got a brother.
But I did hear from her, and I will never ever read.
She might be the older one, but I think she has an older brother.
Those to you. Just happy to hear from my friend, and from those messages, I gathered, okay, yeah, this ain't a fucking joke. The first time before we went to Minnesota, I was watching some stuff about him, or I was watching his show. I'm like, I don't think this guy likes women. I don't think April had.
How can she forget this so easily? Y'all, I really don't get it. The only answer is money, right? Like, it's the only possible answer. At first, when all this was happening and all the eyes were on Aaron, I think they saw an opportunity like, okay, we'll ride this out. This looks like it could be, something that would pay off for us, grift wise, right? But at some point they had to know that was going to wear out or that it wasn't going to stick around for long. She's telling you right here, right now, like, I didn't want to be anywhere near him because I could tell that he hates women. Well, what changed? Just the money? That was the only thing that was like worth you not only flipping on your good friend April and then throwing her under the bus and doxing her, which she said she didn't mean to and she thought everybody knew, but people didn't know. You confirmed it, basically. I don't know. It's just wild. It's wild. Like, all the things she says in this clip, I'm like, yes, yes. Good for her. She's waking up. I remember thinking that when I saw it. I'm like, good for her. And I can remember like cheering her on and thinking, good, she's doing the right thing and standing by April. And April needed somebody right then and there. You know, she really did. She needed a confidant. She was sort of an island out on her own. She had gone out in this new territory and couldn't figure out, you know, there was a lot going on. There was just a lot going on. And she needed a good girlfriend. So I can remember watching this and being like, good for her. Like, Keanu is making sense. She sees it for what it is. She's walking away. She's pointing all the things out that we already knew and saw. And then this was August of last year. Was it Christmas or before Christmas that had already changed? It was very, very shortly after. I'd say a couple months, but
like a lot of friends, probably because maybe he wasn't allowing her to have a lot of friends. Who knows? I don't know. We're trying to be friends with the both of them. And then now this. And I'm not saying it's...
Hold up. Did you hear that?
In Minnesota, the first time I was watching some stuff about him, or I was watching his show, I'm like, I don't think this guy likes women. I don't think April had like a lot of friends. Probably because maybe he wasn't allowing her to have a lot of friends. Who knows? I don't know. We're trying to be friends with the both of them. And then now this. And I'm not saying it's true. No one knows if it's true. But in my brain, sorry, Toe, where there's smoke, there's fire. So very nice, whatever, very long message from a dear friend of mine. That's all I'm going to say. I will read the rest of it later but what I just skimmed, I'm not. And I will never read her messages ever. But
that changed too.
I'm just happy to hear from her. It's all I wanted. And I've already apologized to her for even, being a part of any of this. But we were trying to do trying to help somebody that we thought was a friend. And we didn't know, and I think she understands that. So this is really fun. Let's make fun of the allegations. This came off looking great.
If I really thought that those two thought I was hi-ya.
Oh wow, he's like so fucking uncomfortable. Like, get me out of here, Matt. Someone save you. If
I really had an inkling that those two thought I did that, I would decimate them on this program.
Decimate, excuse me, I used the wrong word. Decimate them. Okay, what are you gonna do to us, homie? I wanted April in my wedding.
This is shallow. This is not great.
Gino was like, would have never asked you, but I said, let's have them both. Okay? Which is why the card literally said, why don't you hang by me? All right? That actually literally breaks my heart to say, but I think at some point you deserve it, homie. It breaks my heart to say that. I'm like, I want April. We can't just have Aaron. Whatever. All right. I don't like what I'm hearing. I don't like any of the stuff that I've, any of the pain and turmoil you've put us all through. Okay. That literally breaks my heart to say. Okay. And we like you. We were there for you. We tried to have your back, but you were not honest.
Oh,
you weren't honest.
Oh,
at all. You'll tell us one thing, then you're on a show and it's a whole nother fucking thing. There's no trusting you.
What happened? What changed, man?
Sort of fucked up. It's fucked up. You're married to Kayla. You're still with her. By the way, I can say Kayla.
Okay. This clip is when Keanu took over Steel Toe's show when he went to Florida. All right. So this was included in the violations that Aaron when he had his conditional release. So when he allowed them to come on and say whatever they wanted, have complete and total freedom to talk about Kayla or anything else, he told them both verbally and in writing, according to Keanu. She said, yeah, he made sure that we knew, like, we could definitely talk about her, and this is when we should. So to take any answers, whatever. And she opens up the show talking about, like, you want to talk about gossip? We can talk about this, that. It was heavily implied that is when they would be able to talk about Kayla. But the problem is it was on the Steel Toe morning show, the channel itself. That's what got him the violation. There were other violations as well, but this is sort of the one that was pointed to that landed his ass in jail. They also, were talking about Kayla at Aaron's anniversary show where he paid them $3,000 to come out. and do comedy. But we've heard the audio from that. It was crazy. But point being, Kayla was alluded to. I don't know if Gino used her name or not. Doesn't matter. They didn't count the violation in with the sentencing. But at that point, he had already violated, and this was part of it.
Kayla, I'm not Aaron. You're married to her. To drive it is a total abusive thing, emotionally, psychologically abusive to drive a wedge between someone that you're with, your partner, and their family members. You just said that publicly. You can think
That's
privately
her
what you want
audio.
about Kayla's parents. But that is an incredibly fucked up thing to do. And from somebody that's been in an abusive relationship, both physical and emotional, I'm not saying he was ever physical with anybody, but abusers fucking alienate you from people. So parents are, first on the list. That's a fucked up thing to say publicly, at least. You want to talk about I fucking hate my mother-in-law at the bar. I mean, you can't go to a bar, can you? I guess you could go, but you'd have to have a pop. That's different. Saying that so fucking publicly is weird. Am I wrong here? That's alienation. That is what fucking emotional abusers do. That ain't good. That's not good. Ooh, not good. Talk about fucking Karen Reed. Actually, just do it.
And that story I may elaborate on at some point, but
good. Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, those people don't get apologies from me. Not in the slightest. The in-laws who
Bingo.
Were not scumbags did get apologies from me. Because I did let some of them down, of course.
I'm sorry. I have to hear that again. The in-laws that weren't scumbags. So other family members. What he's talking about is, I assume, it would have to be your in-laws are your wife's family, your wife's parents.
That's who it would have to be, Keanu.
Bear with me.
Big brain.
They're not scumbags did.
I know I'm like Kevin Brennan.
But yeah, those people don't get apologies from me. Not in the slightest. The in-laws who, were not people that made me at all. Literally, the community that reported me were not the community at all. And that story I may elaborate on at some point, but not today. But yeah, those people don't get apologies from me. Not in the slightest. The in-laws who, were not scumbags did get apologies from me.
I hope it wasn't a
because I did let some of them down.
Okay. You let some of them down. I think it's safe to say you let everyone down. I think it's pretty safe to say. I think he's talking about I don't know if this is somebody that was a part of Kayla's family that reached out to Aaron, if I'm remembering that correctly. You talk about them, but yeah, it's not good. It's your wife's fucking family. The alienation is real. That's not good. That's not good, Ricada. That's bad. Bad news. Bad news bears. Okay.
Of course.
How is it alienation? He's just flat out saying they did me wrong. And although I wronged them as well, that they were one of the people or some of the people who reported him originally. I mean, I wouldn't call that alienation, but
yeah, I guess I should have filmed that, and uploaded all of those conversations. That would be appropriate. People would then be like, oh, finally he's accepting responsibility. In-laws as in wife's family. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
No, my other in-laws.
really, y'all.
I suppose.
Well, it was weird.
No, I haven't taken my meds yet. I'll do it in a minute.
It was fucking weird. We were all just confused as to why you're trying to alienate your wife from her family by saying this publicly. Is that so hard to believe? It's shocking, honestly. That's fucked up. Oh my God.
How do you know what's going on in their private life? She's watching this one clip and is just flat out like, you're alienating your wife from her family. I mean, to me, it sounds like this is definitely something that had been going on behind the scenes for who knows how long. It sounded very personal. So it's very interesting that she thinks that by him coming out and saying this, that's what alienated her, Kayla. Okay.
Apologize to them at once. Stop it. Oh God, I hate this word, but it's a good word for what it is. That triggers me so much. That's what fucking asshole abusers do. Emotional abusers. I'm not saying, but just the fucking, they'll hear that. And then how is Kayla supposed to have a fucking regular relationship with family members then after you do that? I don't want to speak.
How do you know what? Yeah, don't speak for her, because how do you know what it was like before this happened or before he came out and said this?
Or she'd probably be like, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, she would
But
probably.
I don't know. Yeah. Ooh, gives me the heebie-jeebies. That's gross. Not good at all.
But yet you can't see how April's shutting it down. Like, oh, I exaggerated this and this was blown out of proportion. Could be her trying to get away from all of this. How can you see it from one position but not the other?
I'm still getting organized. Give me a second. Spurgs want a personalized apology. Should I set up a Cameo and be like, if you're someone who is really mad at me on Twitter, I'll give you the Cameo for free?
Yes.
I'll apologize
now
to you.
we're talking.
Whatever. I'll grovel. In front of a
Absolutely, you should do that.
candle. I don't know. I don't know what they want.
Thank you for the 199. His hot tub isn't big enough for all the people. I seriously think no. They'll line up one by one.
I wonder how many times during those 2 shows when he was out of town they actually said her name.
I'll get in line.
Because really, I mean, his conditional release said, you know, in any channel or show that you go on that you have control over, direct or indirectly speaking about her. And while he was gone to jail this last week, he was doing these like premieres of reruns of shows past, right? From Steel Toe shows in the past. And he kept his live chat up and running. And it was packed full of her name over and over and over. And I thought, oh man, like that's so easily avoidable, right? Just cut the chat off. That was just this past week.
Strife. You've even put me through by having to watch you. Can you imagine?
That's
Hot
what we
tub
say
stream,
about you, though,
apology stream in a
Keanu.
hot tub. I think it would be a hit. I really do. And Mr. Me, thank you for becoming a member. Yeah, guys, become a member over here. Become a member of Keanu C. Thompson. I have fun. I'm not so bad. I was nervous at first. I do apologize. I'm still a little nervous, but hey, you're stuck with me tomorrow too, ladies and gentlemen. So, and again, I've been given full and utter, complete and total permission to talk about anything I want. Now is the time. You can ask me whatever you would like. Aaron gave me that permission. And then we will go through his entire Google history and search how to make the goal 100 times so that then Nick Ricada can see it and send it to Patrick Melton and then they can all have a laugh.
They literally still think the Google hacking was a thing. They believe it.
Allegedly.
What happened to that? Did Kash Patel ever get around to looking into that? Or the last thing I heard was Kash Patel and FBI were on the case.